Hello, traders. This is Rob from BuySide Global. Today, we are really excited to release the next major version for BSG supply and demand trading bot. Um, as you guys know, the first version that when we released, we included just one trading strategy, basically the scalping, taking every single signal from supply and demand. I'm sorry, taking not every single signal, every single zone creation. Um, and then trying to find the value range based on the stop loss and target, and then scalp between those points. But this supply and demand is so versatile. There are a lot of ways you can trade, not just based on the new zone creation. Um, we try to add. We have list of strategies that we want to add right now. In addition to what we had before the strategy one, we are trying to add two more trading strategies right now. The third one is something we're really excited. The reason is that one of the biggest requests from all the traders we have uh, we have been issued the software is like what are the ways we can minimize the losses when the trade goes on the opposite side of our trade. At the same time, when we are trying to set the target, even if we reach the target, there are a lot of times the trade still keeps going on, and then we are missing those value that can essentially capture. So on both ends, we want to see again to minimize the loss on the downside, and then they try to capture the more upside, even though we know our targets that we want to hit. That's why that's what we worked on in this version. For that trading strategy, we had to include some more products as well. Anyway, let's get into the before getting to the bot and then the new features and new trading strategies. I wanted to a little bit explain in the screen what are the micro trends, what are the strategy, third strategy, that how it works. Before we getting into the strategy, let's please go through. I wanted to present the disclaimer. We are really obligated to share this disclaimer in every single presentation. Um, Basically, CFTC Rule 4.41 conveys that hypothetical and simulated performance, including all the backdated testing results, have certain limitations. Um, all the backtested and simulated performance does not guarantee the future. Please understand trading is risky. Take a pause this video. Please make sure you understand the CFTC rule. Make sure you understand the trading compliance. All right. One of the main enhancements that we made in this version, how to, instead of taking every single zone as a signal and then try to find the value range and taking the trade, we want to see, we try to add this particular strategy. Basically what it means is that we want to find what is the trend that's starting to form. Based on those trend, we want to get a second confirmation and then try to enter. So the reason is that micro trends are the early signals that could lead to larger trend and even the market rally. I'll come back to this rule a little bit in a minute, but in a very high level, you can see the zones on supply side as well as demand side. You tend to alternate between those levels, that too when you're trying to trade on lower time frame, 1 minute. If you're trying to do in larger time frames, we used to see less zones, but it requires a lot of bigger stop loss. That's why we try to stick to the 1 minute or like something smaller time frame. Instead of taking the every single zone, we want to look for something initial trend, micro trend. When I say micro trend, what we mean by two consecutive signals back to back with a short duration. In this case, you can see the two long signals come in at the time 1, 2, 3, around like within the 7 bars. At the same time, you can see here the two short signals comes in together. There are a little bit space in between, but it's okay. We like to see to little bit closer, not touching each other, but not too far, um, because that means the confirmation comes very immediate. That means we can take this as a one signal all together instead of considering each signal separately. Even here, you can see these two signals came together. To add some clarity, if you look at two blue triangles, the long signals, there is a short signal in between, and then there is two short signals that are long in between. This is the exact choppy region we tend to avoid. We're trying to see in terms of something like these kind of micro trends. You cannot take these two. The reason is that long signal here, and then next long signal should come above the previous one, something like this. This is one, and then next one is below. We don't want to take these two as one signal, but this would be a perfect signal. Same way, this is another screenshot in terms of where you can see two consecutive signals down on the downside within the 4 bar range, and then there is not too much gap. Same way here, two long signals not touching each. We don't want to touch each other because if it touches, it's single signal. I don't want it to consider as a separate signals. This is a good one. What is not, like I said, I don't want to see anything touching in between, because moment it touches, it is the confirmation of the same signal. This I don't want to consider it as a two separate signal. If you can see down, this is a good one, right? So we'll come back to the second one later, but this is a very high level view of the new strategy that we added right now based on the micro trends within the supply and demand. With that, let me go back to the chart. Here, before I get into the chart, I wanted to a little bit explain. I'm gonna assume a lot of our customers know our one of the most popular as well as more powerful indicator called order flow zones. I wanted to explain a little bit more before we get in there, because we integrated this particular indicator in the supply and demand. That means you're gonna get this indicator at free of cost, included in this new version. In the previous version, you had only supply and demand indicator included in the bar. Now you are going to have three indicators: supply and demand, trailing stop, and order flow zones. You're going to have full version of all three indicators included of no extra cost. The reason we want to include this particular indicator is for the trend as well as minimizing the loss. Okay, so I wanted to first take a look at this particular indicator in terms of you can. I'm going to remove this indicator first so that you know what it looks like without this indicator. It just red and green bars. That is not really. It does not show the full order flow, which direction the market is moving. Order flow zones indicator is give you, even though here, right here, if you can see greens, red, greens, red, greens, red, red. I think it just ups and downs. It does not give you the trend in general. But our order flow zones, you can see the way you can look at it is that every time you see the triangle here, let me increase the size of the triangle so that you can see triangle down. I'm going to make it like maybe 8. Triangle up, I'm going to make it a little bit 8. There you go. You can see the triangles now. Anytime there is a blue triangle, that means the order flow started going up. Now you can see there are no red uh, candles here. That means even though the bars are going down, the order flow zones knows the momentum as well as the order flow is in the positive direction. Intermediate red bars will be still marked as blue as an uptrend. It's a clear indication now which way the market is going. The way you should look at is that the moment you see the blue signal, the long, continue, ignore this choppy because the trend is long until the next red. Okay, so now you can see from here until here short, from here to here long. This is short lived, short, and then you can see the long here from here is all the way long here. So this is one particular indicator we integrated with the supply and demand bot to get the confirmation from the every single trade. We want to make sure the order flow is in the same direction of our trade. Not only that, I'm going to explain you when should you exit. If you take a look at here, we have added one more feature, when to exit. Sometimes, let's say we entered the long here, our stop loss is way down here in terms of 39.69. We have stop loss right here, but order flow zones can tell us the polarity reversed. In terms of order flow reversed, we can exit right here. um, all right, so let me go back to um, the indicator. Let me add supply and demand. All right, so I'm going to move a little bit up. So all right, so now we have both indicators on. Let me go to the strategies right now. All right, um, so this is what I'm talking about, order flow zones MTA filter. What we are trying to do is, like, I'm going to reset a little bit what we have. Okay, so the order flow zones is the MTF. This is a filter we have. Even though right now I'm trading on 1 minute chart, but I can get the confirmation, the trend confirmation, on a different time frame of the chart, or a different any kind of chart type. Here I can say, even though I'm trading in 1 minute, I can say I want to check it on volume chart or a tick chart, get the confirmation from there. But in this case, I want to get the confirmation of the trend of the 2 minute chart, 2 minute with the order flow zones. That means if I want to enter long trade, on the 2 minute order flow zone, indicator should say blue. That means that's also agreeing in terms of the long. So this is one particular filters that we added. And then here is the biggest change. We didn't have this in the initial version. Now we can see this is what initial version did. Every zone we try to scalp. If you check it, remove those two, this is the version 1 that you guys already have in terms of just scalping, just taking every single zone. But today we are going to talk about in terms of the trend. The just now I explained you the micro trends. Enter on supply and demand trend. Basically, two consecutive signals. It doesn't matter it's long or short, and then each signal should come not more than 10 bars. If two consecutive signals happens at 11th or 12th bar, I think it's too delayed. We want to ignore those things. So we wanted to see within 10 bars, we want to see two consecutive signals. Again, biggest change is that we don't have to set the supply and demand target. You can, I'm not saying you should not, you can, but now because we integrated with the order flow zones trend change, that means I'm going to turn this on. That means I don't need a target. So I don't need a target. What it means is that I will keep the stop loss on the supply and demand based stop loss. I will not have any target. The close on order flow zones tension will be my target. What do I mean by that? If I go back here, if I enter here, until from between here until the next red, my trade will stay on. I'll show you the live examples in a minute, but between every anytime, if you are long until the red, the trade will be there. If you are short until the next blue, it will be the trade will be there. All right, so let me go back again. I should have enabled it. All right. So that's this is what is going to help us on both on the target side, also on the stop loss side. Let's say we are in a short signal, short trade, and then we have a stop loss is almost 24 ticks, 30 ticks down, but order flow changes from long direction to short direction. Bot does not wait till hit the stop loss. It will close immediately as soon as the order flow polarity changes. So it will help both on the downside and on the upside. Okay, and also we have included the break even. This is the feature we had in the cheaper bot. It's widely used most of the time when we are going in positive direction before hitting the target market reverse. We're gonna, if we hit the stop loss, we lost all the unrealized profit we made. So this way we can tell the bot that if we are in unrealized profit, moment it reaches the 10 ticks, move my stop loss to one tick above my entry price. This way, you're locking in whatever the momentum you had already. This way, even the market reverse, you are not going to lose it, hit the stop loss. All right. Also, we have the trailing stop I mentioned. If you wanted to check against the trailing stop based trend, you can do that too. But in this case, I'm going to leave the default settings that ships with. But one thing, please do consider. You one thing you must do is changing this particular time frame. I am in Chicago. That means by default it's when you get your software, it'll be 9:30. It's a set this time set for New York time. If you are in Eastern time, if your laptop is in Eastern time, that means this is as it is will work for you. But if you are in a different time zone, please adjust it. For example, I'm in Chicago Central Time. Um, Market opens 9:30 Eastern. That means for me it's 8:30 Central. So I'm going to make it and then closes by 3 p.m. So if you are in Pacific, please change it to 7:30 and 14. Whatever the laptop time matches the New York turning time. All right. So let me show you some examples what we have. All right. So this is what I was trying to explain in terms of you can see two signals came together. It took the trade, and then even though the next target is right here, on a scalping mode, we take the trade and then we end right here because this is where the resistance are, and then we try to end it right here, few points. In this case, we don't want it to have a target. We have just a stop loss. This is the zone we entered. For I think. My settings is 3 ticks, yes, 3 ticks below the demand lines. That's why it's from here it added 3 ticks below. Since there's no target, the target is basically the order flow zones indicator. From here until the next red, the trade will be stay on. Once it sees the red on the downtrend, it's going to exit. Okay, so this is so effective to on the upside. As let me look at the one of the failed trade. I can show you in terms of on the downside how it's helping us to let me I think I can go by the performance and find the one losing trade. Okay, I think this is 220. 220. Okay, right here. So it took this short signal, but the market reversed, is going opposite direction. um, Moment you saw the blue bar, it exit immediately. It does not, if it did not go all the way to the stop loss. Okay, so let me go back to the different day and I can show you different example as well. Okay, all right. Okay, I think this is the best example in terms of we entered the long here. The yellow dot means a break even. So moment it tried to go up, moment it reaches, we locked in. Market tend to reverse and come back. If you can see, if you don't have the break even fast, the market could reverse. We would have lost this trade right here. See, because if you're in scalping mode, your stop loss is here, your target is here, right? It never reached a target, but it went a little bit up. We had a setting the break even fast. break even fast. We enabled it. We told moment it reaches 10 ticks above my entry price, move my stop loss one tick above. So it moved from here to here, stop loss. After now market reversed, I think we end up in just covering the commissions instead of covering all the way down here. Okay, all right. So here's here's what I'm talking about. Look at this. Two consecutive signals right here. We took this trade. Okay, um, we didn't have target. We didn't have target. That means that the trade could go on and on and on until we see the first red, first order flow reverse. That's the power of order flow zones. That means we don't need to have a target. We just need to stay in the trade as long as it's not reversed. Once it goes up, do you see the yellow? That means once it passed 10 ticks above my entry, if the stop loss is moved, from now I don't have any target. That means market moves continuously. I'm going to stay in the trade as long as it's blues and yellow, I say gold, blue and gold. Moment the out of flow zones marked it as red, downturn, it's going to exit. So this is the great example of how this new version not only minimizing the loss on the downside, also maximizing the profit on the upside. Now, I really don't need to set the target. That's why, if you can see, my let me disable it. My take profit mode is not supply and demand. It's on the run because of this one particular feature. Close the trade on order flow trend change. So when I have this particular feature is checked on, not only not only the let me see not only on the upside it closes on red, even if it goes down, let's say you enter the trade here, it coming down moment you see red right here, it'll exit right here instead of going all the way down. Actually, I want to show you something the same way. Let's see one failed trade. This is a good one in terms of just one trade, but I want to find a day that have something did not work. I want to show you how the risk is mitigated. All right, so let's look at. All right, so it took one trade by 10 a.m. 10:06. Let me go back to 10:06. Okay, this is the best example, guys. Look at this. We entered long. We took this signal. We entered long, but market moment we entered, it started coming down, coming down. Moment we see the red bar, it closed immediately. If I don't have that checked on, if I don't have this close on trade or for zone change checked on, our loss will be right here. You see that stop? This is the stop we had. It'll exit here. We could have lost from here. All that's a lot of ticks loss. That's a lot of tick loss. But now, because of order flow change, moment you saw the red candle, it closed immediately. It does not need to wait till the all the way to the down. So that's why this particular change, not only for the positive side, even the negative side, is very powerful. All right, that's all I wanted to share you. But there's one more change we are working on. That'll be in a couple of more weeks, but we don't want it to wait too long. We want to share the version as it is. One more trend we are trying to add is sometimes you can see some of the down days. We can't find the two alternate signals. There will be like downturn trend. The microtrends second type will look like there will be a supply, there is a pullback, and then pullback will be stopped immediately by another supply, pull the market down, another pullback. The pullback is short lived because another supply comes in, kills it. and then you can see alternate between the news. All the supplies were not broken. All the supplies were not broken. See that? How powerful is that supply? All the pullbacks, these all pullbacks get killed immediately. Killed immediately. You can see every time there's a pullback happens, the demand zone forms, it was killed immediately. And then market goes down, there's a pullback, this particular again killed it down. This is one of the another powerful trend that we wanted to capture. This you will see this one more often than the one we have, but this is something we need to work a little bit with the development team. It'll take a little bit more time, but once we implement this, every time you can see the market direction, good news or bad news, or in terms of the Fed news announcement, all the things is gonna you're gonna be able to capture all the market movement without thinking twice. So that's why we're really excited about the next feature that we're going to include. But for now, we had two strategies. I didn't mention the other feature that we added. This is enter on bounce. In terms of we saw the um, signal sometimes. uh, do we have here anything? I don't think we have here. I don't think we have here. So to explain a little bit, you can see the signal formed. If the market comes back, touches the same zone and bounces back up, we want to enter on those bounces, because when the zone or like demand or supply is very strong, when the market reverses, it bounces and then goes back up. We want to capture that as a trade as well. That is what the second option, enter on bounce or from supply and demand zones. But for now, I think this is the most powerful. But you need to understand in terms of more and more filters we add. We have order flow zones filter, we have supply and target filters, stop loss filters, and trend filters, and then double signal filters. More and more filters we add on, we are going to take less and less signal. But at the same time, it's not about the more signals. It's all about the quality signals. At the same time, when trade is not working, we this particular change is going to help you to minimize the stop loss risk, reduce the potential loss, at the same time capture the upside as long as the momentum continues. Hope you guys will enjoy, play with it more, particularly play with in terms of the ticks as well as your own filter system. The default is what I use. I wanted to capture the filters a little bit in terms of 4 target and 24 stop loss. Whatever the settings I use personally, that's what the default right now. Only thing you might need to change is the time, but just with the settings that I'm shipping with right now, also try to play around with each settings. If you do have unique questions about any particular setting, drop me an email. I'll be happy to create one more video just for any particular setting. Have a great trading journey, guys. Looking forward to hear more from you and what you guys think about this new